Got a great question from one of my buddies, actually locally here in Charleston, who is asking about how he's scaling his rental portfolio. He's trying to figure out when he should bring management in-house and if he should at all in the first place. And so I thought that was a great question. I thought I'd answer it for you guys. So one of the things, as I've analyzed and looked at large rental operators, I've realized that one of the really 5 pillars that has helped them grow their investment portfolio so large is that they in-house manage property. But at what point do you do that? So it's a math equation, right? Like all business stuff is a math equation. I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate that for whatever rental market you're in. It's not necessarily dependent on the number of doors. It's all about how much revenue are you bringing in. So let's go through a simple math equation. How much is a property manager going to cost you in your market? I don't know. Let's call it $4,000 a month. I don't know if that's realistic, high, low, whatever that is, depending on market that you're in. Let's call it $4,000 a month. So $4,000 a month is the amount you got to bring in order to be able to make sense. Are you paying more than $4,000 a month in management fees currently? So let's say you have a rental portfolio, and typically in the single family side, rental management companies are going to charge around a 10% management fee for a single family house. When you get into the multifamily and larger scale or multiple single family properties, they'll reduce that fee a little bit and maybe drop it down to, let's call it 8%. So let's say right now you're paying an 8% management fee. So you're paying 8%. What does your rental portfolio need to look like, and how much revenue before that 8% becomes more than $4,000 a month? So you take that $4,000 and just divide by 8%. So 4,000 divided by 0.08 is $50,000 a month in rental revenue. $50,000 a month in rental revenue at 8% means you're paying the management company $4,000 a month. That, to me, is the break point on when I should start bringing management in-house versus what I should start paying it out to a third party. Now, here's something to pay attention to. I remember early on when I started growing my business, I was like, I want to vertically integrate everything. I want in-house construction, in-house management, in-house brokerage, in-house investment, in-house investment fund, all this stuff under one roof. And what I didn't realize is every single one of those is its own business, right? And you need a COO to run every single one. You need standard operating procedures to run every single one. You need all these different processes, procedures, and things in place to build each of those different businesses. So as you're growing, think about what brings the highest return on your time. And typically that's going to be on the investment side. So if you can staff out the brokerage, if you can staff out the property management, if you can staff out the construction and project management, I think you should, until you get to a point where the rental revenue is enough on a monthly basis where now it justifies bringing one thing in-house and then bring the next thing in-house and then bring the next thing in-house. So how many doors is $50,000 a month? Well, it could be 50 doors at $1,000. Or it could be 100 doors at $500. That's probably very, very difficult to manage because this is C-class, maybe even D-class type stuff on 100 doors. That's a pain in the ass. I probably wouldn't even want to bring that in-house. But maybe it's 20 doors at $2,500 per month, right? So it doesn't necessarily depend on the door count. In my mind, it depends on the revenue and what is that revenue figure. The beauty about getting into the higher ticket stuff is one property manager can still manage 100 doors, right? At much more. So you're actually reducing what your outlaid cost is on this versus buying a bunch of C and D class type stuff where only one person can manage these 100 doors, and it's a lot of work, and you need to hire somebody else. So if you can get into higher dollar amount and bring in an in-house property manager, you can scale that pretty substantially and they can manage 100 doors and bringing in way more revenue than 100 C class or D class type doors. So it's just a math equation, figuring out what a salary is going to cost you in order to hire that property manager in your marketplace, and understanding what the percentage is that the management companies are currently charging. And realize that 8% might also have fees, leasing fees and overhead fees to oversee project management and renovations and capital improvements to the property. And so this 8% might actually be costing you more than what you think it's costing you right now. So if you have these two variables though, then you can figure out how much monthly rental revenue you need to be bringing in order to then pay for a property manager. And then that one property manager can typically handle about 100 doors in the multifamily space. And if it's triple net lease, if it is office, if it is warehouse or industrial, chances are that single manager can manage a lot more than even 100 doors in the multifamily side. So it might be much more scalable, just depends on the rental revenue. So keep in mind though, that if you hire a property manager, you have to manage the management company. If you hire a property manager in-house to work for you, you have to manage that person also. So if you have standard operating procedures, if you have an understanding and employee handbook, and you can do a W-2 and all those things, you gotta start building a real business, right? And I know we all want a real business, but then I see people saying, well, I'm just gonna 1099, I'm just gonna do this. And they try to build a real business on a lackluster business and half-ass business foundation. And you can't build a real business that way. So make sure that if you say that you want a real business, you're operating this thing as a real business. Set up payroll, right? Pay some sort of a health insurance and take care of their health insurance. Maybe there's a retirement plan, or maybe you pay them a little bit more and tell them to go into a Roth IRA instead of a 401k, or do things like that to make it attractive, to attract real talent into your business. Because if you're not willing to do that, I would probably ride it out with a third-party management company for a little bit longer until you've gotten to a point where you're comfortable and confident in being able to put the right business foundational elements in place to attract A-caliber talent into your business. If this was helpful for you, please share it with somebody else who's trying to build their rental portfolio, maybe going through, asking themselves some of the questions that my buddies asked me on that text message thread. And if you would, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It always helps the algorithm. I'm doing this to pay it forward, to make a big impact in your life. So appreciate you being here. Till next time, be your best.